Hi, I'm Mrs. Sarshik, and this is a lesson on multiplying by multiples of 10. Today in class, there's basically a rule for multiplying by multiples of 10. And we talked about there is an infinite number of multiples of 10. The ones you're probably most familiar with are 10, 20, 30, 100, 1,000. So what you do when you're multiplying by a multiple of 10 is you underline the basic fact, you calculate the product, write it down, and then you count the number of zeros in the multiplier and write those down after the product or the basic fact. So if we look at those rules and we go to our next page, we have some examples here next to our rules. So the first thing is underline the basic fact. Well, in this first example, the basic fact is 3 times 5, which is a product of 15. In the second example, 3 times 50, the basic fact, I underline it, would be 3 times 5. And I calculate it as 15, and I write it down. And then I count the number of zeros in the multiplier. The multiplier is 50, and I have 1 0, so I write those down after the basic fact. So the product of 3 times 50 is 150. In this example, again, the basic fact is 3 and the 5, which is a 15. I count the number of zeros, 1, 2. I write those down. The product of 3 times 500 is 1,500. And in the last example, again, this one's a little different. 3 times 15. 2 15s are 30. Add another 15 to 30, and the basic fact here is 45, and then I add 2 zeros. And so in this case, 3 times 1,500, my product is 4,500. That example was a little wacky. Now, if I look at examples on the other side, this is the same rule, but it's one that students often make a mistake with because the basic fact has a 0 in it. So 5 times 6, our product is 30. In the next example, it's 5 times 60. The basic fact, 5 times 6 is 30. I count my zeros, 1, and I add that 0 to the basic fact. The basic fact is 30. In this third problem, 5 times 600, again, I start out writing my basic fact of 30, and I add 2 more zeros. So that product is 3,000. And in the last example, 5 times 6,000, again, 30 is my basic fact. I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Comma goes there. The product of 5 times 6,000 is 30,000. So I hope that helps you when the occasion comes and you're multiplying by a multiple of 10. This is a short method to the algorithm, which you could still do. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 6 is 30. So the method that we just showed you with the special rules is just a shortcut to doing it using the normal algorithm. That's it for the lesson. I'm Mrs. Sarshik. See you another time.